Hey y'all, today we will be removing the top cover of this Pentax MX in order to clean out some of the debris that can be seen from the viewfinder. We are going to start by removing the shutter advance lever. This can be done using a spanning wrench or a pair of pointed tweezers, which I am using. This top piece spins off in a clockwise fashion. And be careful to make sure the tip of whatever device you're using is seated in those notches on the top snug so that you don't accidentally scratch on the metal. It does scratch easily. Of course, it's not going to affect camera operation, but it may affect the way the top portion looks. I don't want it to be all scratched up. So I go ahead and loosen that up and use my fingers to remove it the rest of the way. The reason why we are removing the top plate is because there is light seal foam under there, and there are two patches stuck to either side of the prism, and over time this foam deteriorates and ultimately particulates of it can get in the view of the viewfinder. So we're just going to go ahead and remove that and blow it out. So the advance lever itself just pops right off, nothing holding that back, and there is a washer underneath that once again also just comes right up. I'm organizing these pieces to the side of me just in the way I'm taking them off, kind of keeping each collection of pieces together. After that is removed, we are going to remove the shutter speed selection dial. Once again, use either a spanning wrench or, in my case, pointed tweezers. This one will remove in a counterclockwise fashion. There are two little notches in the middle of that dial. Once that gets loosened up, you can remove it. Once that is removed, you are able to just remove the dial. It comes straight up, just keeping note of what your shutter speed is set at. Here mine is set at 250 or 1/250th of a second. So when I go to reassemble later, I know what orientation it needs to be set at, so there's not any problems. Then this washer at the bottom just comes off nice and easily. The next piece we are going to remove is the rewind dial on the left. By opening the film back, you could see a fork kind of situation underneath the dial. Here I'm sticking the bottom of my tweezers in there to provide some resistance so I can unscrew the dial itself. It unscrews in a counterclockwise fashion, comes right off. Once that is off, there is once again another piece that needs to be removed using a spanning wrench. Down below, this one also is unscrewed in a counterclockwise fashion. I loosen it up here with a spanning wrench and then use my pointed tweezers to unscrew it the rest of the way. I will now use my fingers to remove it completely. Underneath that black plate just comes straight up and off the camera. The next pieces that will be removed are the screws on the body. Two of the screws can be seen from the top of the camera, one above the shutter speed selection dial and one to the kind of right and above the shutter advance lever. These are Phillips head screws, and the ones on the top of the camera have pretty flat tops. So just make note of that when putting these screws back in the camera for reassembly. Two more screws can be seen on the back side of the camera on either side of the viewfinder. I will be removing those next. These have a more convex top. They once again are Phillips head, so I'm using the same screwdriver. And once these screws are removed, we are able to take the top cover off. Removing the top cover may not be easy. It might take a little bit of shimmying if stuff has been sitting for a while. It's gonna be nice and snug and tight. So I will be removing the top cover right here, giving a little bit of a shimmy, nice way of loosening up things so that there is a safe removal of the top cover. Once the cover is removed, on the inside of the top cover we can see some debris kind of stuck to the top inside of the top plate on the left there, and then we see the two patches of light seal foam, which ultimately causes the debris that can be seen from the finder. Here I will show you just, the couple specks of debris that are in there. Not much, but enough to, kind of be annoying. So the first thing that we're going to do is I will be cleaning some of the debris from the inside of this plate, just taking a rag, spraying some alcohol onto it, and just cleaning up some of the debris on the left side. Give it a quick blowout just in case there's any other excess debris. The next thing that I will be doing is cutting some electrical tape in order to place over those patches of foam. These pieces of electrical tape do not need to be big, just big enough to stick over the foam and stick on either side of the foam to keep everything kind of bunched together so that debris can't get loose in the future. The right piece has been done. I will be doing the same thing on the left side, cutting out a small piece of electrical tape and placing it right over that foam. Just making sure that that tape is nice and snug so that it doesn't peel up in the future. Alright, now that some of these pieces have been removed from the top plate, I'm going to take the time to clean it up a little bit more. Just some dust that has been sitting underneath those dials. So once again, I'll be taking some alcohol, rubbing it on the top plate, making it look nice and pretty. Alright, it is now time to attempt to blow out the finder here. There's a little bit of a gap between the prism itself and the finder in which you are viewing from. So I'm just doing long blowing presses from my blower here to get the most blowing force I can. I'm doing it at all different angles. There's mainly that one big speck of dust or debris to the right of the middle of the viewfinder. So after blowing it out a little bit, we see that that piece on the right side is now gone. So partial success. I'm going to go ahead and blow it out a little bit more just to make sure that it is good to go. Then I'm going to go ahead and start reassembling. So the top plate, just got to line it up. Once again, it's a snug fit, so do not force anything. Make sure that it is correctly oriented. And Everything goes back on. First thing I will be doing is putting in all the screws. Once again, making sure that we are using the more convex screws for the backside of the camera, and the flatter top screws for the top of the camera. After I screw in this next screw, I'll be reassembling the rewind knob. The black plate goes on first, and then we will need to screw on that one piece once again using a spanning wrench. And that screws on clockwise. I will get it finger tight and then tighten it the rest of the way. With the spanning wrench. I will now be opening the back of the camera so that I can screw this on once again. I use the back side of my tweezers to create some restriction so that that rod in there doesn't twist, and I spin this on in a clockwise fashion. The next piece that requires reassembly is the shutter speed selection dial. So the first thing we're going to put on is that washer, followed up by the dial itself. Recalling that we removed it when the shutter speed was set to 250. Once that is correctly in place, we can take that black screw and get that started. I will start it with my fingers here, then ultimately tighten it up with my pointed tweezers. Unfortunately, my spanning wrench only on the points only get so close together, and these pieces here are these two notches are a little too close for it, so I'll be tightening it the rest of the way with these pointed tweezers here. Seem to do the job. Making sure everything is nice and secure so that I don't end up scratching anything up. That is now set. Selection seems to work, so I will now go about reassembling the advance lever. That little washer goes on first, followed by the lever itself, and then that top screw. Once again, be sure to and this screws on in a counterclockwise fashion, tightened in a counterclockwise fashion. I will be finger tightening this and then using the tweezers once again to get this nice and tight. I'm making sure everything is nice and secure so that I do not accidentally scrape up the metal. And now that it is nice and tight, I'm going to make sure that everything still works, everything's been reassembled properly. Give a couple advances, a couple shutters. Seems to be good. So that is it. That has been a removing of the top cover and cleaning out the debris. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.